care if I have to burn down all of Paris. Hellfire! Now, Gypsy, it's your turn. Be mine or you will burn!
Movie opens on 14 seconds of black screen, like a dick.
Jeremy points things out on a screen cliche.
Starting your movie with a drone shot through the clouds cliche. I mean, it's impressive drone work to be sure, but it's still a cliche.
And it's still pretty dang awesome, cliche.
I appreciate this dramatic opening showing the cathedral at Notre Dame reaching above the clouds, but Notre Dame is not that tall, people. If it's reaching through the clouds this much, then there's a dense fog all the way down to the sidewalk, and people are getting hit by cars and walking into building facades, and it's f***ing pandemonium. What a nice opening image.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think we're supposed to take this image that literally. It's just artistic license meant to give us an awesome shot to open the film on. And this also counts as saying something you like cliche.
Is this a lamp store, a boot store, or a crown store? Signage is important, people.
Why are we wasting time on stuff like this? I understand these videos are supposed to be comedic, but that wasn't even funny. This video is 16 minutes long, and stuff like this is why.
Looks like Disney's dipping into the singing narrator introduces your story from his traveling cartwheel again after its success with Aladdin, but at least they waited a whole 4 years to do it.
And at least we see this narrator more often than just the beginning of the film. Yeah, I know the narrator in Aladdin is supposed to be the genie, but that movie didn't make that clear.
Shut it up, will you?
Do these guys not know how babies work?
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Judge Claude Frollo.
Good thing you said the villain's name out loud, forced exposition guy.
Yeah, because otherwise you'd be all, who's this guy? Why is he running after these people?
Movie Kyrie eleison throughout, but never once has the sense to Mr.
Jeremy says something random cliche.
Also, this woman racing to find a safe place for her baby in the midst of her country's upheaval is super Moses-like.
Arbitrary ancient book reference.
A baby? A monster.
That's racist.
It's almost like that was the point or something.
This is an unholy demon. I'm sending it back to hell where it belongs.
Hyperbole. Also, I might as well go ahead and add a sin for how ridiculously over-the-top Frollo is in this thing. We're 5 minutes in and he's already ready to partake in some baby drowning. Kids' movies are the freaking best.
There is no way that Jeremy just called The Hunchback of Notre Dame a kids movie. Yeah, I know it's rated G, but G stands for general audience. That doesn't mean it's for kids. And this is by far one of Disney's darkest films, too.
These are the judgiest sculptures to have ever been sculpted. Hey Pierre, could you do some
Skip!
Pour the wine and cut the cheese.
Gregarious gargoyle gabs glibly about gastrointestinal gas while gasping for Grape's great guardian.
Jeremy's job is jealousy to jeopardize the journal by juggling judgment and jokes to justify juvenile jargon.
It is a treat to watch the colorful pageantry of the simple peasant folk.
This is what Disney Parks bosses say every day as they watch people pour in. Snot blocking.
Jeremy points things out on a screen cliche. I am so sorry that I've said cliche so many times already.
Are the talking gargoyles ever explained? It's not like there was a spell cast by a witch somewhere to turn statues into friendly tower-dwelling folks. This movie is mostly magic-free except for these f***ing stone gargoyles.
Actually, the directors have said that they operated under the assumption that the gargoyles are only a part of Quasimodo's imagination, but they never outright confirmed that. I'm willing to buy their fake since they only really interact with Quasi. So while you may not be wrong in suggesting that they are in fact alive, the sin is for you not willing to look it up.
Oh, he lives in an attic. He's made a miniature town. He's an outcast. Just wants to be part of their world. Honestly, 30% of all animated Disney flicks are about an outcast who wants to be part of the world. The rest are princesses that want to be normal and people stuck in a rut that need a jump-starting adventure. Literally all animated Disney movies fit into one of those three categories.
I don't know about you, but aside from the princess example, those categories sound like the jumpstart for a lot of movies, not just Disney. Star Wars was about a kid who felt like he didn't belong and who yearned for adventure. Lord of the Rings is about a hobbit who was thrust into adventure because he carried an object a villain wanted. This just sounds like standard storytelling is what I'm saying.
The pigeons remaining on the gargoyle's shoulder after they all go inside is commitment to a bit, but again, completely misunderstands pigeon behavior.
You know the gargoyles are comedic relief, right? Meaning stuff like this happens for the sake of a joke. That's normal for comedy. The fact that unrealistic things happen just to make the audience laugh. Ever watch a Tom and Jerry cartoon?
Playing Dunk the Monk.
Pop quiz. Playing Dunk the Monk refers to A, what Steve Wiebe told his family he was doing every time he went to the garage to practice his Donkey Kong. B,
There's another college girlfriend joke at the end of this sin, so I'm just gonna go ahead and skip.
Yes, sneak out and yes, sneak back in.
it continues to baffle me to this day why Disney tried to happify what is at best a f***ing dark-ass story.
That's Disney for you. I mean, did you know that the Little Mermaid literally dies at the end of the original book?
Dear boy, whomever are you talking to?
These annoying sidekick statues suffer from the Toy Story conundrum. If they truly are as active and loud as they appear to be, there is no way he would not have heard or seen them on his way in here.
Or that could be further evidence that supports the idea that these gargoyles aren't actually alive and Quasimodo is simply talking to inanimate statues. Notice that Frollo only said he heard Quasi's voice.
He sings, "You are deformed and you are ugly," and makes Quasimodo repeat him. And what benefit is Frollo getting here? He has someone to ring the bells? He only kept Quasimodo as a baby because he thought he might be useful to him. And here he's up in the tower singing a convincing song about why Quasimodo should never leave the tower. But what is Frollo getting out of it?
I doubt Frollo wants him running around and getting lost since he believes he could be useful to him. Also, that's not the only reason he kept him. Didn't you see in the earlier scene with the statue staring at him? That was meant to signify God judging Frollo for drowning a baby, so he decided to raise Quasi to save his own life.
He then sings, "Be faithful to me and be grateful to me," and this movie is making me distrust religious leaders.
Well, yeah, the whole point of Frollo is that he's using his religion as an excuse to do basically anything, which is sadly realistic. That's part of what makes him one of the best Disney villains. Also, he's not a religious leader, he's a judge.
This is your sanctuary.
Things you say to prisoners who don't know they are in a prison.
Or it's something to say to your prisoner to keep them out of a place that you claim will be something he doesn't want to be a part of. Huh, Tangle did that too. Weird.
Yep, I was right. He is literally now singing a song about wanting to be part of the world he is not currently allowed to be part of. Disney is lazy, y'all.
Sinning out there.
Man, most of this song is about all the shit he's rear window spying on from his tower. Quasi just said he can see them through the roofs and gables, which means he spends his days window gazing and down blousing. And honestly, Quasi, how's the peeping? Quasi.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Movie does not explain Quasimodo's monkey-like fearlessness when climbing tall, skinny spires.
Movie doesn't need to explain. They simply just need to show you they can do stuff like this. Ever heard the phrase, show don't tell?
Also, he sings "Just One Day and I Swear I'll Be Content," and I had a roommate that said that once about his favorite porn star, and yada yada yada. He's in jail now.
There are far too many jokes like this in this video, so I'll just add another 10 cents so we can move on.
Ah, a classic love at first sight cliche. It happens a lot in Disney movies. In reality, she might be a needle junkie with no teeth and a history of arrests, but he doesn't care because he already fell in love with her.
That's most likely because Disney movies always tended to be fairy tales, but she's beautiful, you know that? Quasimodo later on has a similar love at first sight thing, and they don't end up together. Because unlike other Disney films like Snow White or Cinderella, we actually see Esmeralda and Phoebus fall in love naturally.
Gypsies don't earn money. They steal it.
I kind of feel sorry for this movie because the bad guys all have to be cartoonishly evil. Like the gypsies aren't getting in your way. Who hates gypsies? I saw a whole TV series about gypsy weddings and that was hilarious.
The reason Frollo hates gypsies is because he believes they are sinners who are against God. He most likely had influence over the guards to feel the same way. It's not really cartoonishly evil either, because there were many religious zealots in real life who couldn't tolerate sinful people and killed them for it. This movie is simply reflecting reality.
Also, this movie keeps calling them gypsies, but modern society tells me this word is offensive, and they should be called Romani. So, in the interest of fairness, I shall henceforth stop calling them gypsies and instead refer to them as Romani.
Well, that's fair. Why is that a sin for the movie? Doesn't this film take place in the 17th to 18th century, back when the word wasn't as offensive as it is today? Meaning the movie is simply being accurate?
And yet, for all my success, they have thrived.
For the sake of making this metaphor work, movie wants us to believe that hidden under a single stone, many stories up with no sign of food, an entire colony of ants is hanging out. That is actually not how you get ants.
You know nothing about ants. They are arguably the most resourceful species on the whole planet.
By the way, great mask.
This is the single most hurtful thing said in the history of cinema.
Remember when Jeremy called Frollo sending a baby Quasimodo to hell hyperbole? Here he is, using hyperbole.
His face doesn't come off, and the crowd realizes it's not a mask, and they are horrified. And I get that he's not traditionally beautiful, but he's also not that ugly. It's not like he's the only ugly person in Paris. Everyone here has seen plenty of ugly people before.
Isn't there also the fact that he's a hunchback? I'm not saying that justifies them saying he's ugly, but there's literally a universal monster called the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which tells me people used to view them as ugly monsters.
Where you going, Hunchback? The fun's just beginning!
Geez, this crowd went from being oblivious to shocked to full celebration and then to evil tormentors within the span of 2 minutes. Is Terrence Fletcher around? Because that is some serious whiplash.
Nah, I feel like I've seen people switch opinions this fast in real time.
She used magic transporting exploding dust a second ago.
That pronunciation of the word exploding. Like, seriously, you couldn't do another take?
Gotta stay one jump ahead of the breadline.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
Considering you're in a church, I'd almost forgive the overcandling, but also, forgiveness. Also, hey, Father, what's my job today? Ready the sacred wine? Prepare the holy text? You're on candle duty today, kid.
Double dipping.
Sniff a salt. Her name's Esmeralda, not Esmersmelda. Who the wrote this? It's terrible. It's awful. I demand to know who the hell wrote that.
You did!
I don't believe you.
Jeremy apparently doesn't know that he makes stupid puns like this all the time. At least Chris is aware of it.
Now she's singing. There are people praying, lady. And Quasimodo definitely heard her singing and came to investigate. So, again, there are people trying to pray right now.
Don't some of these people then go on to sing their prayers out loud during Esmeralda's song?
Now that the gargoyles are interacting with each other out of Quasimodo's presence, I have to believe they are real and magic, and just choose to only talk and interact with the bell ringer and no other humans ever, which is stupid.
Now that's fair, but again, if we're assuming these gargoyles aren't real, then we can justify these kinds of scenes as the filmmakers having fun and creating these scenes for the sake of a laugh. But if they are real, then they probably only interact with Quasi because he lives up in the tower with them and he wouldn't want to chat with other humans because that might scare them. You brought up Toy Story earlier. Remember how much Sid freaked out when Woody talked to him?
Climb down?
Sure. You carry him, I carry you.
Okay.
That's all the convincing it took for her to be willing to climb down the face of the Notre Dame Cathedral?
Yes.
I can't play it, but I'm going to be real with you because you deserve it. The music in this movie sucks. It may be even worse than Phantom.
Claiming the music in this movie sucks when Hellfire is one of the best Disney songs of all time. That's worth a few extra.
So he's Quasimodo's master, but lives across town? Quasi basically has zero supervision then. This is confusing to me.
It's possible that Frollo watched over him all those years he was growing up and then decided he could just leave him in the tower after hammering the idea into him that he should stay and not leave.
I don't ask for much, but I'd love to have been at the story meeting when they revealed this film would have a song entirely about the existential crisis of lust and repressed sexuality, in which robed figures chant mea culpa before the vocalist requests his tempting siren taste the fires of hell if he can't have her. I'm sure it ended with, for kids.
Or this was for general audiences, and they realized kids could probably handle this kind of thing since they would inevitably be watching.
Also, this song is without question the horniest song in animated Disney history.
Incorrect. The horniest Disney song ever is Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
He sings, "This burning desire is turning me to sin," because he legitimately thinks he's an otherwise sinless person. It's almost cute.
Yeah, that's the point. That's exactly what makes him the villain of the story. A lot of villains in movies are delusional, and that's by design. That's why Lex Luthor's hatred of Superman is so petty.
Well, that immolated quickly. Also, Frollo has gone from arresting people who don't give him Esmeralda to attempted murdering them, and that's a pretty big f***ing step, man.
If you paid attention to the song Hellfire, you would have heard Frollo say that he wanted to find Esmeralda and that he was willing to burn down all of Paris to do that. Yeah, this guy is insane.
This is the end.
Jeremy sings in a video cliche.
What? It's the city.
What are you talking about?
It's a map.
Right, but a pretty awful one. Even if you assume it's to scale, at best you have a general area to look at. Now that I look at it, it's nowhere near where the clitoris is. So, wait, what were we talking about again?
And another sex joke.
I realize they think these two are spies, but they're going to hang them?
Considering Frollo is the most evil villain in Disney history,
There'll be a little bonfire in the square tomorrow, and you're all invited to attend.
He then tells the guards to take Quasi away, and it cuts directly to the bonfire in the square the next day. Just jumps over 24 whole hours. Why even have him say the word tomorrow? Why not just make the bonfire immediately after the arrests in the catacombs?
probably so he can give the people of Paris time to gather around and witness the execution.
Man, I would remove all the sins from every movie ever if he threw her over the balcony right now like a wrestling move.
No, you wouldn't.